We welcome you to Conversations and Coffee today on this 9th day of September 2021. I'm Ellen O'Shaughnessy, coordinator of the program. We're here virtually with Zoom, brought to us by virtue of Lindsay Lasanti, graduate of Otterbein University, linking us together from the Cultural Arts Center in Columbus, Ohio, with Katie Fisher, graduate of Columbus College of Art and Design, who creatively gets the word out on our website for our beloved Cultural Arts Center. We have a great faculty here, staff, with Director Jeffrey Martin, bringing arts to the city. We're delighted to have with us today Tiffany Lawson, our artist in the Loft Gallery of the Cultural Arts Center, a wonderfully engaging show. Tiffany is a professional, multi-disciplinary artist, born and raised on the south side of Columbus. From early beginnings of her masterpieces, she says she scribbled behind the couch, but always signed it. She loved her mother, signed Tiffany, and through community arts programs and summer camps, art's always been a part of her nature. Literature, art, music were anchors in her household, formulating ideas and an undeniable affinity for creativity. As a teenager, she began to realize her purpose as an artist after being exposed to local influences such as Amina Robinson, Grandpa Smokey Brown. You know, we had both of those artists for Conversations and Coffee. It was wonderful.
Wonderful.
As well as Richard Duarte Brown through programs her mother managed at the church across the street from their house. Tiffany was also mentored by Gilda Edwards. The programs broadened her access to the understanding of the arts. Through the use of the arts and community and programs in Central Ohio, she honed her skills and developed a creative voice, shown locally and nationally. Tiffany obtained a BA in Mass Communications and Social Issues from The Ohio State University in 2005. Upon graduating, Tiffany accepted a position as a judicial assistant in the Franklin County Municipal Court, where she is currently employed. In 2014, she became a resident artist at the Millwork Studios, where she began to show her work professionally. 2017 brought a renewed commitment to her art after acquiring The Island, her home studio where she currently resides on the east side of Columbus. A master urban farmer since 2019, Tiffany also holds a certificate as an art therapy life coach. As you so beautifully express your experience of art, and I quote you, Tiffany, "I have found the practice of collecting and rearranging to be innate, an archival process that recovers the past, secures the present, and expects the future. Anchored in my spirituality, culture, and womanhood, I use songs, lyrics, scripture verse as my mechanism to collect memories, in tandem with the present, reconstructing stories for the future. I create my works largely on brown paper bags, which gives life to my pieces, in that they are recycled, alive. Use what you've got, you say. How delightful and beautiful is your work." 2021 brought the inaugural residency of Columbus Cultural Arts Center, and you're selected as the first recipient for that position. So good to have you with us today, Tiffany.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Well, let's begin.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to share the screen now so we can see your work. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. There's the first piece.
All right. That's Fresh Air, and it's a mostly mixed media collage on a canvas board. I'll say I sort of started this piece before I moved into the space as the artist in residence, just kind of with some of the background or how the feelings that I was having after meeting with the staff at the center. And everybody has been wonderful, and it's been a great experience, although the summer went by way too quickly. So she is holding a brown paper bag, and I did some I guess you could call it a scratch print on the part where it says fresh air there. I included some buttons, and she's just a mix of mostly paper that I've collaged together. So very much, I don't know if her expression is kind of was sort of how I felt coming in. I wasn't exactly sure what to expect, but I knew I wanted to bring my best and also bring something with experiences that people could grasp.
Uh-huh. Engaging.
Yeah,
I found your exhibit just so engaging, and it takes a while to be present to your pieces because there's so many aspects to them. I love it.
Thank you. So yeah, I try to make sure there's more than one focal point, more than one portion for you to kind of, I guess, get lost and find yourself in as you take in the whole piece.
That's a good way to say it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So her hair is burlap.
Ah, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, her hair is burlap.
Oh.
Yeah. Kind of got to use what you got.
What's recycled come to new life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love how you need to like get up close and like see all the patterns, like how interesting the detail work can be, and then the collage from far away too. It's just so good.
Thank you. Well, this piece in particular started with her shoulders. If you could see, her shoulders are actually landscapes. So it just sort of felt like, if there was a lot of uncertainty, especially with this being the first time the Cultural Arts Center had ever had this program or this opportunity. It was just sort of trying to wrangle up and hold on to the opportunity at hand, but also allow myself to have the experience as well. Yeah. So that piece was fun. And this is intersectionality. So just from the beginning, the word intersectionality is basically overlap of different, I don't want to make it all disadvantages, but in a way, just different overlaps of someone's life. So me personally, I have an overlap. I'm a Black female, which makes me, I guess, in some circles, a double minority. And the intersectionality can be anything. It could be race, gender, class, sexual orientation, and all of those things overlap. In a sense that to say that there's none of us on the planet, on this earth, who have one single issue. Although we can all unite for a single issue, I think intersectionality, once you realize it's an easier way for us all to find some kind of common ground. So that's basically what this piece was based on. So this is, again, mixed media and gouache and new pastel on a brown paper bag.
Oh, that's wonderful. And your title, the use of your word, intersectionality. Wow.
Yeah. It's not much literature. So last night I actually got on the Columbus Metropolitan Library's website to see how much literature was out there in regards to this subject. And it's really limited right now. It's a fairly new concept, I believe. So hopefully, as we all begin to think about our own lives, as we begin to hopefully emerge from this pandemic, we can all kind of take a page out of that book of intersectionality and find better ways so that we don't go back to the things that were broken, and hopefully be able to move forward with positivity and love. So this was actually my first time using gouache on this piece here. So it's got it's different from watercolor, of course, in that it's opaque, not as transparent, but I do enjoy watercolor and at this point gouache. So it'll be something that I continue to use with my work.
Wonderful.
While I was in this residency, I took printmaking with Christine Abbott, and it was Saturday mornings from 9 to 12, which was kind of tough because like I said, I do work a full-time job. So I had to get in the routine of not sleeping in on Saturdays. But the word intaglio was a new word for me, in that I had always seen the word, but of course I pronounced it incorrectly. So just to find out that the G is silent, kind of like lasagna, or another word where the G is silent. But it's not pronounced intaglio, it's intaglio. So I just thought that was interesting. So with these pieces, the first 6 up at the top, I did those on a piece of styrofoam. And you kind of use I used a pencil. You kind of etch into the styrofoam, and then you cover it with the ink, of course, and you can use a brayer or you can run it through the print press. And so with each successive print, I manipulated the piece of styrofoam to get to the 6th one. So that was very interesting. It was fun because I've done my own kind of, use what you got kind of printing with balsa wood, or, just really general basic relief prints. So this is something that I'll definitely also include in my practice from this point forward as well. And also the queen pieces underneath the first 2 rows, those are chess pieces. And in a similar way, I scratched into a piece of, the box that you get your lettuce and your spinaches in at the grocery store. So, of course, you clean it all out. I cut it in a square and use a little tool. I don't know what the name of the tool is, but you etch into that as well. You cover it with ink and you get a nice print. So that's how I did the last 2 rows. So that was a really good time. And the background on the queen piece is actually a crossword puzzle. One of my favorite things to do. I do a crossword puzzle daily. I'm kind of a wordsmith. I enjoy words. So I'm not very good at chess, but I'm very good at crossword puzzles.
That's great.
Yeah. I do the dispatch one daily. Yeah. And I like how they totally kind of off subject, but I like how they get harder successively as the day of the week goes by. So the Monday puzzle is sort of easy, but by the time you get to like the Sunday puzzle, it's a doozy. It takes all day to do that one. Yeah. So, and then the last row was just my play on a theme that I have, Keep Black Alive. So it was just a play on that concept that I include in my work. So it's 1-800-KEEP-BLACK-ALIVE, now call on the dial, and then that's a receiver. So and the Keep Black Alive for me is I guess my effort for empowerment, I would say.
Beautiful. Well, Adam, your brother is with us. What's he think of this? Proud of your sister?
I'm more proud of my sister than I ever could be. Speechless at every turn.
Oh.
Thanks.
How beautiful.
Thanks.
I just had to hold back tears, by the way, while you were giving the intro. Your words were beautiful.
Thanks.
Yes.
This is the big piece in the show. It took me the longest. I started this probably the week I moved in as well, and I kind of worked on it all summer. It is 3 pieces. And they are all on brown paper bags. So it's kind of autobiographical in a way, being that I grew up on the South Side. I'm not quite 40, but I will be soon. But I kind of feel as if when I ride back through the neighborhood, because my mother still lives in our childhood home. When I ride through the neighborhood, there's a lot of landmarks and markers in my life that are gone. The elementary school is gone. The middle school is gone. I remember as a little girl, our neighborhood, we had our own little economy. There were laundromats and grocery stores and barber shops, and there was a business plaza, and all of those things have been razed. They're all gone. And so this for me was sort of trying to process through all of those things in my life kind of being gone and not feeling, like I said, old enough to be in a position where I can't use a landmark to call home. So if you get in closer to this piece, there's the tree on the left-hand side. There was a tree in front of our home for as long as I could remember. And as the neighborhood began to be gentrified, that was one of the first things to go on our street. They cut the trees down. And then the second thing to go in our neighborhood was the stoplights. They replaced them all with stop signs, which is fairly odd. So I wanted to make sure that I captured that in this piece, the tree and the stop sign. And also with the tree, Gilda Edwards, who was my mentor, she did a piece called Granny's Reliquary. There were actually two pieces. They were rather large, kind of statuesque type of art. But if you get closer to the tree on the left side, there's remnants of or a tribute to her granny's reliquary, in that she sewed together baskets to make her granny's reliquary. So I tried to include that in the tree as well. And also the tree has a lot of significance. If you are a native of Columbus, you remember the reading tree in the basement at the library. And the reading tree was it was a huge, mock-up tree, but it had nooks in it where you could get, your book and crawl in and read your book in the little nook in the tree. So that was a very big part of my life as well. And probably one of the reasons why I love to read so much. Just that personal experience that I had reading in the nooks at the tree at the library.
Wonderful.
So that's definitely something I wanted to capture here. And the church across the street from our home, where my mother ran the art programs, that's been very near and dear to me. So this piece is most definitely autobiographical in a lot of different ways, but most definitely it sort of tells the tale of two different neighborhoods, if you will, in that the background is sort of the old neighborhood and the forefront is sort of the newer neighborhood that exists currently. So yeah, this piece, it was a way for me to change what I like to call my implicit memory in regards to my neighborhood where I grew up. So implicit memory is basically the experience that everybody has. The reason why you remember how to ride a bike, even if you haven't been on one in 20 years. Things like if you've ever driven home and your mind was so kind of spaced out, but somehow you still made it home safely, but you don't really remember how you got there. That's what implicit memory is. And there are tools that you learn with the art life coach. There are tools that you learn to kind of process through those implicit memories so that you're not triggered. So it leads to wellness and wholeness. And so that's something that it's also what I talk about in my workshop series, the brown paper bags and your implicit memories.
Lindsay, I was wondering if you heard that little sound in the background. Can you hear it at all? Good, you don't. I hear a little of it. So let's just note it. My husband and I stood before this, Tiffany, for the longest time. I don't know if you noticed at the opening. We just went from moment to moment to moment. And I'm so excited to tell him what it was all about. Loved it. We just walked through it. And it's just amazing.
Thank you.
Creative it is. And then to think about the materials that you use. Recycled.
They're mostly, it's mostly paper. And there's fabric there, and there's watch pieces from old watches that kind of go throughout the piece as well. But most definitely, and of course, some acrylic in the background's got some gouache, some handmade papers, and definitely used what I got.
Oh, amazing.
Most definitely used what I've got.
Mm.
So hopefully, like I said, it's kind of a tale of two different neighborhoods. Like on the light pole, one side of the street sign says "It's a beautiful day, Avenue," and the other side says "In the neighborhood street." So that's my play on the whole Mr. Rogers,
Yes.
and also the stoplight. When Mr. Rogers comes on, the light's always yellow to remind us all to slow down. So putting all that together, and with the Queen Latifah reference, the first Queen Latifah's got a song called "Just Another Day."
Mm.
And her opening line on that song, on her rap part, is "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood." So in fact, Queen Latifah did say Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Creative, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you could speak a little to the sort of like the posts with the houses on it that are like intertwined in the roots here.
Sure.
I've always I see those parts and I'm like, that's very interesting.
Sure.
I'd love to hear more.
Sure. So those posts, actually, the pictures of the houses on the post, you can't see very well in this picture, but they're actually for sale. The houses on the picture are for sale. So in reference to gentrification in my neighborhood where I grew up, it's strange to drive down the street and see a boarded up house next to a house that's been renovated and is now on the market for $500,000. It's amazing. So it just causes, for me, it just seems as if I were to move into a neighborhood that I wasn't really familiar with, I don't think that I would want to separate myself from those individuals, but rather, in fact, immerse myself in a community with those individuals. And you don't really see that. That's not really what's happening. What's happened is it's creating quite a bit of separation between the original inhabitants of that neighborhood and the people who are coming in. So I don't know what the correct way would be to kind of bridge that gap. That's a whole different kind of conversation. But it's worrisome to see how the people who inhabit this neighborhood already are being affected by the people who live in the $500,000 home. As they renovate, and I don't know if you can see the trash heap next to the next to the stoplight pole, there's a heap of trash right there. And what has ended up happening through the renovation process is illegal dumping. So there's trash, there's dumpsters in the back alleys with toilets in them, and old drywall and ripped up carpet. And so it's kind of a disrespect to the people who live there. You know what I mean? In an effort to come up with a final product that you can sell on a market for $500,000 next to a home that's only worth 20. Mm. So it's definitely it's weird. It's weird to see. You know what I mean?
Well, your art brings us to conversation about it. That's a way to bridge. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I like to say that that's what I would like for my work to continue to do, to open up, not necessarily to find solutions, but hopefully open up conversations that lead to those kinds of conversations. Mm-hmm. I don't know the course of action that needs to take place to, I don't know, it's not even to combat the situation, just to address it.
Yeah.
But I think just having the ability to open the floor up to have these conversations is very important. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Make it easier. There's no wrong or right answer. There's no wrong or right thing to say about it, or, just as long as you're able to, view it and have some type of reaction, I think that says a lot.
Mhm. Well, thank you for bringing forth the
Absolutely.
conversation. Mhm.
Yeah, I tried to take some different views. So another play on words, like I said, I love words. I probably could write a dictionary with all the words that I've made up, but
It's all those crossword puzzles.
yeah, all those crossword puzzles. So this one here is called red gerryfication. So again, it's redlining,
Oh.
gerrymandering, and gentrification. So I just kind of combined the three. And that's definitely something that you can find in around the way. That's kind of the result of what's happening there. So these are actually these are older. I did these in 2018 for a show that the Ohio Art League had for their small box show, their small work show. And so that's where these came from. And again, these are mostly mixed medias, meaning paper collages. I didn't add much acrylic to these, but that's basically what these are. So it's just wanting to play on, I guess, the results or what can happen around the way.
Oh. Wow.
Do you have like a preference? So like these works compared to the around the way before, do you like to work like bigger or smaller? Do you have like a preference of like scale of your work?
Well, around the way is by far the largest thing that I've done to date. It is something, and in this piece, the goal was to try to figure out how to merge my visual work with my narrative. Because I was finding that I was doing two separate things. So I was showing work with the narrative and also the visual. So I feel like with this piece, I definitely accomplished my goal in trying to merge those two together. And like I said, this is the largest piece that I've ever done in terms of collage work. And so most definitely the smaller pieces, of course, are a little less, require a little less engineering, I'll say, because I have these grand ideas, especially like with around the way, and then I've got to figure out how to build it. So if you were to have come to the studio maybe a month ago, there were, just, it seemed like just boxes of or separations of categories, and I had to figure out how to build them on the substrate. So, and if I do say so, it came together pretty nicely. But with these smaller pieces, I'm able to just kind of take a concept and kind of make it happen. So yeah, I don't think it's a preference though. If I have to choose, I don't think I have a preference. Yeah. Bus Stop Bob. This piece I did earlier this year, actually, for a show, an exhibit a duo exhibit I had at 934 Gallery back in March. And basically, those are Baptist hymns in the background, kind of like, I guess you could call them the dialogue boxes above the ladies' heads. And the bus stop is something that I'm very familiar with. What a lot of people don't know is when you catch the bus from a particular bus stop at the same bus stop every day, you form relationships with the people who catch the bus there. Kids, just like a kid at a bus stop waiting on the bus, you form relationships and bonds at bus stops. And I kind of wanted to capture that with this piece. Just, three women at the bus stop, don't know where they're going or how far they're going, but most definitely are bonded and headed in the same direction.
And look like they're going to dance.
Yeah. So the beginning with this piece, the first thing that I had was the hands. The hands kind of struck me as they look peaceful. They look strong and certain, as if they know what they want and where they're going. Yeah. So I just kind of built them up from there. Yeah, and this piece is mostly paper again. Those are Baptist hymns in the background, and I do all the faces. So those are my faces.
Oh, love it. Love it.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites, actually.
Love it.
Yeah.
The texture in it is amazing too, that you get with the paper. So
Thank you, because I like to use paper that has movement. So basically, I look for fabric because it, the way they photograph it, it still very much has movement, and I kind of use that to my advantage.
Uh-huh. Wonderful.
And this one, Up Before Daybreak, Keeping Black Alive. They're kind of a family that could live on the block around the way. They've been in their house forever. And this one actually had a narrative that goes with it about how they feel about getting up before daybreak. It's sort of, again, a play on words. I got Up Before Daybreak from a book on cotton back about sharecropping. And they talked about being up before daybreak to pick cotton. So it's just my way to kind of lighten that up a bit, not to take away from that experience, but it's definitely something that I'm thankful that I don't know anything about. So it's just, again, a play on those words. And in the narrative, I mentioned that it's kind of a privilege to be up before daybreak. There's a peacefulness about, what is that? It's not the dawn. Is that dawn? Dawn? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So there's a stillness, I think, at dawn. And if you are privy enough to get up and capture it, that's for anybody. It gives you an opportunity to plan your day, opportunity to reflect, an opportunity to set goals, an opportunity to be intentional, an opportunity to make sure that you're spreading love. And that's something that I think, again, if we all were to slow down as we emerge, that's something that we could most definitely all accomplish. And the Keeping Black Alive part is just a empowerment for me. I don't really subscribe to Black Lives Matter. I'm not against it. I don't have a problem with it at all. But in order for us to say that Black Lives Matter, in some sense, that means that they don't. And that's a very grim sentiment, in my opinion. So I kind of developed a different concept for myself, and just that I'd like to keep Black alive. It's in my opinion, a little more positive than just saying Black Lives Matter. So
that's excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. So I love the family. The little baby Sleep in her daddy's arms. And he's very much serious about protecting his family and his home. And I included American flag because, in fact, we're Americans. And I think, if we all are able to see that instead of the intersections of it, mm-hmm. I think that'd be a better way for us all to keep Black alive.
Mm. And thank you for the perspective that you've given on getting up at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, get up and set your intentions. Get your mind right. Read your Bible, sing a song, have some coffee, flip your toenails, whatever it takes. It could be nothing. You could just roll over and just be thankful for breath in your lungs. But to have that moment to do that, I think is very important.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh, the spirit of SANKOFA. So I took bronzing also this summer, and it was very much a process. I started it early on when I first came to, because I wasn't exactly sure what to expect, as I'd never done anything with metal whatsoever. So the process of bronzing is quite, it's taxing. First off, you have to make a mold out of wax. So you're very much carving into the wax. And it takes I was just telling someone else, you almost have to, there's a sense of surrender that you have to have when you begin the whole bronzing process, because you have little to no control over the metal itself. You can hope and pray that your mold comes out beautifully and there's nothing wrong, and then there's nothing wrong with the metal work. But in reality, you have little to no control over that portion. So it took me all summer to carve the wax mold. Then you place the wax mold in some plaster. The plaster hardens, and then they put it in the kiln to melt the wax from the inside of the plaster. And then from there, you pour the metal into the mold. So this is, it originally was a whole mask, I will say that. And it sort of ended up like a metal collage, in that I couldn't control what the metal did. And so after digging through what came out of the ash after doing the metal work, this is what I was able to create from what was left.
Mm. Mm.
So very much, I felt like it was just the spirit of Sankofa. Sankofa is an African concept that means go back and fetch or learn from your past and move forward. So it's a concept that I think everybody, again, one of those things that everybody could apply to their life, because your strength is in what you let go of. So if you're able to let go of what you don't need, you keep more of what you do need. And I think that's basically the spirit of this piece here.
Oh, magnificent.
Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you. This is a work in progress as we speak. I'm still kind of figuring it out. It started off, these were wings, and I was thinking of the Greek character Icarus. But then I realized that he wouldn't be able to fly very well because there's holes in the. So conceptually, I mean, it's similar in that Icarus wings collapsed from the sun, but at the same time, I didn't feel like that was necessarily being, I guess, portrayed in a very good light with these wings that I had created. So I went through my bag of goodies and I found this vest, and I just decided to name it Work in Progress, because that's exactly what it is. So still very much under construction. I'm not exactly sure where it's headed, but that was definitely the thought between Icarus and Prometheus. That's kind of where I was headed with that.
And with the background of the Cultural Arts Center brick from 1865, I mean, something very exciting about
Yeah. Yeah, I thought so too. And the pew was just, it's up there and it was just perfect.
Yes.
I thought it was great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It just feels like it could take off any minute.
It does. It does. It does. And aren't we all works in progress?
Aren't we all?
We're all works in progress.
Uh-huh.
So I'll probably be picking on that thing for a while until I kind of figure out what kind of work's going to be done.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. That piece has been a lot of fun. I'm thinking about putting it on just to see what it'll look like, because it is a sweatshirt. So
when you take a picture,
I'll make sure I take some pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Wear it as a Halloween costume, maybe. I'm Icarus' more colorful cousin.
Is Adam still with us? What's he think of it?
He may go.
Adam?
I think we are all works in progress, and I think this is a beautiful piece. It reminds me of my mother.
Oh,
and just
yeah?
all the stuff that we've done, like with the arts and with the people that we've been surrounded with arts. So with her saying that, like Icarus and Prometheus, like that was just, I didn't know that, but to me it's more like a phoenix.
Oh.
Yeah, and those are actually My mother's doll scraps. My mother's a doll maker. She makes Watuka dolls. And so when the
Yes.
fabric on this piece, I braided her doll scraps together and sewed them together. So that's basically what you see. So that's probably why it reminds him of our mother.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you
Yeah.
for bringing that out, Adam.
Yeah,
Yeah, bringing her with us.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And her dolls are beautiful. I'll have to take a picture of one of those too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're all 100% handmade. So she makes them. She made the pattern. She sews them by hand. She makes their clothes, their hair,
Oh,
everything.
oh.
Yeah, I'll never forget. We did a craft show. This was a handful of years ago, and Mom had done a all yellow doll. She had yellow skin, yellow hair, yellow dress. Everything was yellow. There was this little girl, and her mom wasn't going to buy the doll, but the little girl wouldn't put it down.
Oh.
So she ended up taking that doll home, and she I think Mom got some pictures of the girl in the email, and she loves that doll.
Oh,
She loves that doll.
that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I'm so honored to have the opportunity to show my work here. The summer has been wonderful. It kind of blew by. I feel like it went by so quickly. Like from May to August seems like a blur. Oh, Adam's got the dolls. Those are the dolls.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Oh,
the dolls. So it just kind of it went by so fast, and everybody's been so great. I had a good time down in the sculpture studio with Fred. He was awesome. I'm sure I annoyed the crap out of him, but he was but he was so nice. And everybody down in ceramics, and Sharon doing her exhibit here, the Workscapes thing was awesome. Katie is a superstar. Todd and Jeff are wonderful. And it's just been a great experience. It was better than I could have ever imagined. And I think with this being the first time for everybody dealing with, the red tape and ins and outs of this whole thing, I think we've all done a great job. Everybody needs a pat on the back.
yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great
We'll
opportunity.
gather around you and give you pats on the back.
I appreciate that.
I loved at your opening just being with you in conversation and then gazing at your work, but then you were talking from other people, and I thought, well, I'll find out later. And you just described the piece that is those two cities in one, and how beautifully you talk about how we need to come together. You're a real leader, and you're in a municipal court system.
I am. I'm a judicial assistant. I've been down there for this November will be 16 years, which is
Wow.
crazy. And the experiences that I have down there, for a long time, I fought to keep out of my work. I wasn't exactly sure how to convey those without it. I don't ever want to pander or put out negative images. That's something that I don't ever intend to do. So I have battled with trying to find an empowering way to include some of those experiences in my work, and even a comfortability factor to do that. And I think I've done that. I did accomplish that goal as well with the Around the Way piece. If you look on the right side of that piece, there are newspaper clippings that I use from the Daily Reporter, which includes case numbers and zip codes for cases that are being heard either in municipal court or common pleas court. Luckily, I am blessed enough to not have to work in felony court. So the things that I see daily are basically poor people crimes, driving without a license, unfortunately, theft. There's quite a bit of domestic violence, unfortunately. And so those are the things I think that a lot of, unfortunately, inner city, urban, disadvantaged people experiences that they have on a regular basis. And unfortunately, there's so much, so many costs included with court. It creates a whole different kind of hole for these people to get out of and to try to live through. So it's most definitely something that I've tried to keep out, but it's undeniable that that's literally my life. But I think I found a way to put that message out in a positive way, so that we can all kind of, like I said, intersect in some kind of way. We all intersect. And even if I think, again, my aesthetic basically, for the most part, is wabi-sabi, which is a focus on imperfection, accepting imperfections. So I think even if we choose in our intersectionality to accept our imperfections, that's a better place to start than trying to find commonalities, because those are a little harder to find.
And your art calls you to that perspective of that imperfection moving to greater life. Creates so beautifully.
Thank you. Thank you. Because
Yeah.
I don't know, I found myself in the earlier years when I first started getting serious, just being, I don't think people realize how intimidating it is to really sit in front of a stark white canvas with a brush in your hand, trying to figure out where to start. Do you start at the top? Do you start at the bottom? Do you start in the middle? And it is quite a bit of pressure to try to figure out or to focus on making the right mark. And so when I developed my aesthetic around wabi-sabi, I was able to let all of that go, and just trust that where I was making a mark is where it went. So, and even with the use of paper, like if I lay down a piece or a clipping that I don't like, there's a I don't know, a sense of safety that I feel that I can cover it up. I can create something completely new or different in that same space. So it definitely is it keeps me free. I'll say that.
Oh, that's beautiful. And that's the therapy of art. So
Yes, it is. Yes, it
for
is.
therapy, what soul talk. So you're just letting yourself
Yep.
bond. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it says how you care for those who struggle by
Say that again, Ellen.
you care for those who struggle.
Oh,
You-
yes.
You give a place for imperfection.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something that I found, after a bit of self-reflection. I have always cheered for the underdog. I was always the girl who sat with the kid that didn't have friends, or, just I don't like to see people treated poorly or badly because they're different. So that's always been something that I've been drawn to, that person, that individual, or that cause that would otherwise be, I don't know, ignored in a way, or invisible even to some people who can't, I guess it's hard to step out of your own bubble to see different perspectives. So if I can offer some help in doing that, I'd like to continue to use my work to do that.
Wonderful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Where are you going to go from here now with your artistic expression?
So the next big thing coming up is I have a solo show with the Ohio State Faculty Club in March. So I'll be working towards that most of the next, 6 to 8 months. Trying to get those pieces finalized. It'll probably be a combination of older works and newer works in the space there. But I've been blessed. This is my 17th show here at the Cultural Arts Center. So I do try to keep myself at least signed up for shows here locally. I'm showing at quite a few galleries here in Columbus area, and I'll probably continue to do that just to keep the creativity flowing for the next 6 to 8 months. And then hopefully I'll get some, a real vacation in here somewhere where it's warm. So But other than that, just kind of staying busy. I'd like to do a few more workshop sessions. I look forward to that. And I'm doing with the Arts Impact Middle School. They have an Artist Talk Fridays, so I'm actually going to do that a couple times this winter. And so just smaller projects going on, just trying to stay busy. But most definitely working towards the big show at the faculty club.
You inspire us all to do such a thing.
Thank you. Get up and get it.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for being with us.